It is 5:47, week number 4. Welcome. I'm inside the podcast studio here at Hillbrook School, place where it is kind of quiet. I'm not using the fancy microphone. It's just now occurring to me that perhaps I could do that. But just out of frame, I have a nice microphone on a boom stand, although I'm now moving the entire little cart. But I could have hooked that up to my laptop. I didn't. But I can't imagine you're going to be laying awake at night going, man, I really wish Bill had used a better microphone. I really like getting that low end in his voice on those instructor videos. It's not right. I tend to go both extremes when it comes to educators creating content. And I try and model both in different ways. For the most part, for these videos, I try and model just how simple it can be to make video and how the bells and whistles take time. And it's not really the point. I know some educators that will record a video for their students, they'll do like 15 takes. No. You get one take for everyone, not just you. It's not that I think less of you. It's to model that as educators, it is okay to do it in one take. Someone interrupts, we're just going to roll with it, and that's okay. I don't have to worry about lighting just right, not presenting at a big fancy conference, and even then I often don't set up nice lighting, although I could, but I'm not. And that's okay, because we have a lot on our plates, and the polish in nearly all videos is not worth it. I used to feel strongly in the opposite direction, but my goodness, particularly 23 months into a pandemic, we don't need to worry about polished videos unless we're trying to monetize them, in which case, go for it. So this is week number 4. This might be my favorite week. Am I allowed to say that? Does anyone else have kids and actually tell your kids which one is your favorite? It'll depend. Like one of my kids, we have 3 of them. They're 6, 8, and 10. And when one of them like brings a plate into the kitchen and like puts it in the sink, which happens rarely, I'm like, thank you so much. You are my favorite kid, loudly in front of all 3 of them. They're like, what? And the one that did it was like, that's right. But then I have to make sure to have all the others be favorites pretty quickly. Otherwise, like I can't pick the same kid every single time to be my favorite. Otherwise, they'll think that I genuinely do have a favorite, and that's not the point. But I think this week number 4, looking at memory strategies and ways we process information in our human brains, might be my favorite week. It's there's some good stuff. I think it's some of my favorite discussions, content, and an assignment. So there you have it. As far as I'm concerned, the next after this week is just like not downhill. But this one's good to go. Why do I keep doing that? I don't know. I apologize for that. So this week we have a couple articles that are incredibly helpful and dare I say actually useful. There's a lot of content that you tend to read at the graduate level that is great theoretically, but in practice is like this doesn't help me in my classroom tomorrow. I feel like these ones actually do ways to improve memory for kids, the science of drawing and memory. If you've never dug into sketchnoting with you or your students, this might be a week to test that out. Let your students know we're going to take a risk. We're going to try something a little bit new. We're going to do some sketchnoting. I have 2 ed tech friends that have done a lot of work around sketchnoting. One is Sylvia Duckworth. The other is Manuel Herrera. Sylvia's up in Canada, and I think she has a sketchnoting book now. Super kind, generous, amazing human. And what I love about what she has done is she started off just like, I can't draw, but I think I can learn how to sketch note, right? Let's do some growth mindset. We don't need to jump into that, but she's like, I think I can learn. Sure enough, in a year, she went from like drawing stick figures, like the way I draw, to presenting at conferences on sketchnoting. And then another couple of years later, she's, publishing all kinds of amazing content around sketchnoting. Manuel just kind of followed a passion. He's down in St. Louis, Missouri. Well, down for me, over. And I'm just like, yeah, like, I'm not sure about the connection with education, and just kind of kept at it. And then slowly but surely got not only better at it, but also got dug more into the brain research, which is the connection I'm making here around how we can actually store memories better through drawing, through sketchnoting. It's not about being an artist. It's about being able to visually represent knowledge and being able to really like synthesize what you're hearing, what you're learning, and like display it in a concrete visual way. There's a lot of good stuff. They're two great humans to follow on all the things. Most of them are pretty active on Instagram. So there's a TEDx talk, Dr. Peter Doolittle, around working memory. Another Edutopia article from a few years back. There's an e-lesson, stands for electronic. The formats feels old school. It's still around memory and the learning brain. The content is great. The display of information's older. You have two discussion board posts. Both of them are great. The first one's a sensory preferences test. So you're going to go through that. You're going to take the determining your sensory preferences test, where you look at visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Please do not put students in buckets or yourself that you are an auditory learner. There's like no such thing around being only auditory or visual or kinesthetic. All of us are all of them. It is a very common myth. You get something like this week where it's, I tend to, on this test score, like, out of 11, I get 8 on kinesthetic, which means I need to look at things visually. Like, I'm not a hands-on learner. We're all hands-on learners. We're all auditory learners. We're all visual learners. We do all of them. Just some of them come easier to us. Some of them, like, they all work differently with our memories. And so as you go through that, just kind of keep that in mind. And it's more of a preference. It's never you learn this way. We always learn all the ways. I feel like I could rant on that for about 20 minutes. I'm not going to. Discussion board post 2 is, it might sound like a not important thing. Look at the difference between sense and meaning, but it is. It's a big difference. You'll see in your SUSE text, and then in the practitioner's corner, there's some ideas about, making meaning of learning. And then your assignment, your information processing model analogy. You are going to create an analogy for the information processing model. So there's 4 parts, 4 features. You have the sensory register, immediate memory, working memory, long-term memory. You have those 4 parts. There's an example, so I'm actually not going to go into too much detail further, because for the most part, you will just look, if you click on that Google Doc, look at the student sample around the information processing model analogy. You'll look at it and go, got it. I just did that again. Why am I doing the clicking your tongue? I feel like I don't do that, and I've done that like 4 times in this video. I don't know. So the example you have is around the process of baking. And so you'll see 4 visuals, and then in the sample paper breaks apart kind of how that's going to look. It's not going to be every single part of it. Part of it's kind of redacted, which feels very like, I don't feel like I work for like the CIA or something. But just to see kind of how that's laid out and how that introduction works. So read through that. Once you read through that example that is linked on the Google Doc that gives you how what the assignment description is, a link to the rubric, that should make a whole lot of sense. That is due by the end of Sunday. Make sure for both discussion board prompts, you are doing 1 initial post by Thursday, 2 replies for each the following Sunday. So a total of 2 initial posts, 4 replies. Total of 6 replies. So that is all for week number 4. As always, reach out with any questions. Stay safe, stay healthy, hang in there, and happy week for everybody.